So I usually enjoy April Fool's Day, but this year the joke was beyond cruel. Despite widespread Canadian support to defund the police, the federal government and the RCMP signed an agreement to give them more money. I kid you not. Starting April 1st, RCMP constables are now entitled to make $20,000 more than they were before. Oh, and here's the kicker. Guess who pays their salaries? Yeah, that's right. It's you and I. And apparently, we don't have a say in the matter. But it's not like they didn't know that the majority of Canadians didn't support police budget increases. We literally spent weeks and months marching in the streets alongside Black Lives Matter, calling for an end to police racism, brutality, corruption, and killings of Black and Indigenous peoples. And for good reason. The RCMP, Canada's iconic national police force, is an outdated, male-dominated paramilitary organization struggling to function long past its expiry date. They simply can't be fixed. But don't take my word for it. Former Supreme Court of Canada Justice Michelle Bastras wrote an independent assessment of more than 3,000 claims of sexual harassment by RCMP members against female RCMP. He was shocked by the large numbers of violent sexual assaults committed by the RCMP against its own members and how they specifically preyed on Indigenous women on the force. He concluded that the RCMP represent a toxic culture of racism, misogyny, homophobia, and sexual violence that is heavily invested in maintaining that status quo. They won't fix themselves. But this isn't news. The Legal Services Board of Nunavut documented persistent racism and abuse by the RCMP towards Inuit women. Human Rights Watch reported on the numerous sexual assaults of Indigenous women and girls, again by the RCMP. And we know that 36% of all RCMP killings involved Indigenous peoples, and we're only 5% of the population. Where were the RCMP when racist fishermen were attacking Mi'kmaq fishers and burning down our buildings? Where were they when we were asking them to investigate murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls? You know where they were? They were arming themselves to invade Wet'suwet'en territory, Mi'kmaq territory, and Mohawk territory. If ever there was a justification to defund the police, this is it. So why are the RCMP getting more money? Could it be because the public safety minister is Bill Blair, the former chief of Toronto Police, the same police who were found to have engaged in an unprecedented campaign of excessive force and mass arrests against peaceful protesters during the G20? After reviewing the many civil suits against the RCMP, even the Auditor General found that the RCMP are more concerned about protecting their image than dealing with abusers in the force. Oh, and in case you were wondering who pays the billions of dollars of civil suits against the RCMP, you guessed it again, we do. We literally pay for our own oppression. And no amount of biased surveys or propaganda on social media is going to fool Canadians, even on April Fool's Day. I think it's long past time to close up shop on Canada's toxic police force. They've become a public safety hazard.